Hey everyone. Not much to really to film today. As I said, Mike will be back in 6 days' time to finish the cab off. But there was something that I actually forgot to show you yesterday. I went to a swap meet 2 weeks ago. I picked up a wood grain steering wheel with the Boss for $20. And it's quite a nice looking wood wheel. There's no splits or anything in it. So I kept my Boss. So I got the Boss that came off this. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to sandal this back, and I'm going to stain it black, just enough so that the wood grain still comes through, and then I'm going to clear it again. So the wheel will actually be black, and it should look alright then. One of the other jobs that I did, which I mentioned I was going to do, was that USB port. I've actually painted that black. I think it blends in a lot better now. It doesn't stand out as much as it did. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to work on a new steering column surround for this. I'm going to speak to Mike and see if we can make something out of alloy, and try and keep it round like this, like the cover on this Boss kit here. Just bring it down to the dropper, steering column dropper, and just encase all this stuff under here, just to make it look nice. So that's something that we can do a bit further down the track. No hurry, it's been like that for 20 years. So yeah, curiosity killed the cat. So I decided to push the two sections together today, seeing I undercoated or rust reformed all the areas I needed to do. So as you get a better idea now. It's still pretty rough because there was a lot of dents in here filled with lead, so any of these lows that you see is not from any welding we've done. They're just lows from where the lead melted out of the sheet metal when we welded in these patch panels. But yeah, as you can see, we've got a nice we've filled the gap there well, and as I said, Mike will cut this out and this will all he'll graft all that in, so there'll be a little bit of tapping and stuff, but we'll get all that grafted in, and it should look alright. Same on this side. As you can see, we filled the hole there that I'd cut out. Same deal here. There's a few little deviations, but it was all the lead that fell out. I don't know if you can see it, but look, there's bits of lead solder there that melted out of the A-pillar. This big blob there still, and some blistered paint under that, but I'm not really worried at this point in time. It's only getting the paint in behind there where we wouldn't be able to get to later on. But yeah, that gives you a bit of an idea of how it's going to look. Should look really nice. So all the radiuses on the corners match the radiuses that are on the doors. If you remember, that was one of Mike's suggestions. He said, "Oh, we'll just use the same radius that's on the doors, keep it all uniformed." So yeah, all good. Yeah, very happy at the moment, but I'll be happier when it's finished, to be honest. So I'll pick up on this vid in 5 days time now. So yeah, we'll get stuck back into it then. Cheers. Okay guys, there was one other thing I forgot to mention. That little heater did turn up. Some of the footage in video 36 has been patched together over a couple of weeks. So yeah, in that time the heater turned up, and yeah, it's not the best quality, but and I did complain about it, and the seller gave me a partial refund on it, but I was able to sort of fix it all. So basically this is it. So it came with the cigarette lighter cable, came with a couple of alligator clips as well, depending on whether you wanted to plug it into the cigarette lighter or hook it up directly to the battery. It does have wires here so that you can run a two-stage switch on it, so you can run it at 300 watts or 500 watts. I've just got it hardwired at the moment, so as soon as you plug it in, you don't have any requirement for a switch. I have to finish off all the wiring properly, but it's very tiny. It fits in my hand. But the reason I bought it wasn't to obviously warm the cabin of the cab of the Chev, because there's no windows. I actually bought this for my feet. So this will sort of you know, I'll make something where this isn't sitting directly on the carpet, because I don't want it to burn. But yeah, that's gonna. I've had it plugged in, and it blows pretty hard. It's got a nice little fan motor in it. It's 500 watts, so yeah, it'll pump out just enough heat to warm my feet, and yeah, it'll do the job. Not that I drive the car much in winter anyway, so yeah. So buyer beware if you're buying this type of little heater. Find it on eBay or somewhere like that. Yeah, they are made in China. They're not the best quality. Very roughly put together. Even the cigarette lighter, I had to actually solder the cable to the pin. I couldn't work out why it wasn't working, so I undid that and discovered that the wire had never even been soldered to the pin, so it wasn't making contact. And these wires here, these negative wires for the switch, that's how long they were. You haven't really got a lot to play with there, so yeah, if you plan running a switch somewhere else, you may just have to take this casing off and unsolder the wires and run some longer wires out of there. So, but yeah, it's alright. It's only $20 odd, I think, $26 delivered, so can't complain. Hey guys, I'm just forgetting so much at the moment. Probably because I haven't done much work on the truck in the last few weeks, but I ended up buying another LPG tank. As you can see, another scuba tank, same as the one that's fitted up, and I managed to get that for, I think it was about $80. It's a fair drive though to go and get it, and it does need retesting next year, and it's good till 2018. But when I got home, I just decided to have a look on another website other than eBay for LPG tanks. I don't know why, because I just bought that one, but curiosity got the better of me, and I found a donut tank, round donut tank, out of a VN 5 litre Commodore sedan. So in the States, you guys, we ship them over to you as Pontiacs. So yeah, same sort of thing. This one's got 3 years left on it before it needs retesting. But the beautiful thing about this is it fits between the chassis rails. So I could probably get this to sit a little bit lower than I can get that to sit. So, you know, even if it's only an inch below the chassis rail, an inch is an inch. So yeah, it should all be good. It's still full of LPG as well, so when it comes time to start the engine, I've got a tank full of LPG, which is great. The guy wasn't sure about how bad the copper line was. He's not sure how badly he bent it when he took it out, but that's okay because I've got copper line in there, and most of it's actually a flexible type hose anyway, especially for the filler part. So I'll probably buy a new one of these, but actually I don't need this. There's a T-piece that I have to buy so that you can actually run an umbilical between the two tanks. I do remember now, because sent an inquiry to one of the major LPG suppliers here in Melbourne, and he actually sent back exactly what I need. So yeah, I don't need that. I can do away with that and just run a copper line straight from this tank to the mounted tank. And the beautiful thing is, if I don't get the car on the road before that tank that's mounted expires, I've still got this donut tank with 3 years on it. So all I'll do is I'll mount this one, drop that out in the interim, do whatever I need to get the car registered. When I get home, drop that scuba tank back in, hook up the umbilical, and that's the job's done. So I could cheat a little bit there. I don't think I'm going to get I don't think I'm going to be able to drop this donut tank a lot down into the chassis, because obviously you know, with your suspension moving up and down, your drive shaft's going to move up and down, so I need to leave some clearance for that. But as you can see, all these shocks, these air shocks are right down at the moment. There's no air in them, and as you can see, I've got that much clearance with them at their minimum height, so I can mount this tank anywhere above this cross member here. So I can, that's probably a good 2 inches there. So I can get it 2 inches below the top of this, which, you know, is not too bad. That means that I can keep the floor level inside the tub lower, which means it's going to give me, you know, obviously more area in the tub. And yeah, these scuba tanks will still do the job, no problem, because they do fit inside the chassis rail, and the tub will actually sit out here past the chassis. But yeah, I just this would have to sit on top of the chassis, so I'm sort of losing 2 inches. Losing 2 inches there, but yeah, I've got something to play around with now. That donut tank with 3 years on it only cost me $60, so I've got two to play with. The donut tank goes in and it works, I'm going to use that. If not, I can always sell it and fit up those scuba tanks. And if I do fit them up, I'll fit that up behind the cab. I won't put it directly over the top of the existing tanks. I'll put the spare wheel above the tanks. I just don't want too much weight on the back end of the truck. I want to distribute the weight out a little bit. So yeah, just have a tank at the back and then a tank mounted midway up the chassis. So it'll just balance everything out. It'll just make a nicer ride. Yeah, so that's another thing I forgot to tell you, but now you know. Hey everyone, it's been a little while. I'm still sort of waiting on Mike. Mike was supposed to come today. It's whatever it is, the 16th or something of September. Unfortunately, Mike's dog got sick, and yeah, he had to take care of the dog, so we didn't get a chance to sort of get this happening, but it will happen. He's a man of his word, and he'll make another time, and we'll get around to it. So today I've just been stuffing around in the garage and sheds and pulling out bits and pieces that I no longer need and putting them on eBay, just to get rid of them and make some extra cash to spend on this thing. And one of the things that I have been meaning to do for ever, since I built the Chev, was to make a proper grill insert. The 1929 Chevs didn't come out with a grill insert. The radiator core was shaped in a honeycomb pattern, and that obviously was good enough for Chevrolet in the day. It looked good, so they didn't bother with an insert. So for the past, I don't know, 15 years, maybe 20 years, I've just had some metal fly wire, black metal fly wire, in front of the radiator to keep all the bugs out. So probably going back about, when would it be, about 2000, maybe about 2000 or 1999, I bought a piece of mesh. I was going to build a new grill for a bass speaker cabinet that I had at the time, and you had to buy it in a sheet, so I only needed to use a little bit of it. So I had this offcut sitting in the shed for the past, whatever it is, 18 years, and decided today I was going to pull it out and actually start making a grill insert for the Chev. So I've cut out the basic size of the insert, and I gave it a good going over with the wire brush, and prep washed it, and then hit it with the same black paint that I used on the Studebaker. So it's a rust preventer or rust reverser type paint, because this was pretty rusted up. I'll give you a look at the other piece that was left over. So here it is. As you can see, this bottom piece was obviously sitting in a part of the shed where there must have been a water leak in the roof, and even rusted a hole through there. But everything from here that way, which that piece came off there, was in good condition, and this top piece is in good condition too, but the rest of it's pretty ratty. So I'm going to use a little piece of this as well for the cowl vent, so when the cowl vent opens up there'll be a grill in there as well. Let's push my custom build handle and see what I'm trying to tell you. Just got to get around this cable. There we go, that's better. Alright, so we've got this open. So as you can see there, it's all open. I'm going to put a piece of this nice mesh just in here. Keep all the bugs and everything out. And yeah, I'm lucky. The rest of it I'll throw out. That won't be needed. Oh, sorry guys. So yeah, I was lucky that I was able to get two pieces for two different jobs out of this one sheet. And yeah. Now the other thing I was talking about was putting a polished stainless steel insert in here to smooth all this out, because it buckled really bad due to all those holes I filled in. I think it was something like 22 holes or 27 holes or something like that across the entire firewall. So you know, I did my best. And I got it pretty straight, but still, you know, you might remember the story I told you about having that big sheet of stainless steel and the laser cutting place cut out attempted to cut out the firewall pattern for the Chev twice and fucked it up. Well, this is what I was left with. So it looks like I've got enough here, definitely got enough here to do that firewall. This is the back side of it, so this will get stuck to the firewall. This side, you can see how grotty it is, but it's still got the plastic on it, so there's no scratches. There'll be no scratches on that. It'll be all nice and clean and shiny. So I've pulled that out. That's been sitting in the shed for the same amount of time. had that sheet of stainless probably since about 1996. So that's how long I've had that. Because there's a company name written on it, and the company I work for, between 1994 and 1998. So yeah, I've had that a long time. So that's gonna be perfect for there, and that's gonna clean up that whole section. Everything else around here is all gonna be hand finished, so that's all good. So the next thing I'm gonna do is I'll just sit this up here and I'll just pull this cover back so I can give you a bit of a look at what I'm trying to do. Move my camera work. Alright. Now, I don't know how good you're gonna see this in the footage, because it's you know, my garage, it's always dark. Even with all the lights on, I've got twin fluoros all the way along except for that one, and it's still dark. So yeah, anyway, I've had this fly wire mesh, this steel fly wire mesh in the front here for close to 20 years. So I'm going to get rid of this now, and I'm going to put that in its place. And so I've got a piece of cardboard over here, and I'm going to cut a template out because I need to curve the top, obviously, to go in behind the shroud. I could square it off, but if I can get it up a little bit higher, I will. So I'm going to make my template and then transfer that over onto here, and then just round the corners off. It doesn't need very much. I've pretty much measured the length of it, and yeah, so it should go in. I think it's going to sit about here somewhere once it's up behind the shroud, but it's just going to need the corner nicking off it here. And then the next thing is I've got to find a way to fasten this in behind the shroud. So it's a work in progress. Yeah, all good. I'm not sure if I showed you this, because I've had some footage sitting on the computer for weeks now, and I was hoping that I was going to get some other stuff done, but it just didn't happen. And I think I might have mentioned, but I'm not sure. I bought a steering wheel at a swap meet with the Boss adapter on it. The adapter was no good, but I've got that on eBay. So yeah, I bought this wood grain steering wheel for $20 with the Boss kit, not this one, the one that I'm selling now, for $20. So you know, it's a nice wheel. The one I had on it was a SAS. It was the vinyl wrapped one, so it was a little bit thicker than this, a little bit bulky. This has got no cracks in it, which is great, because I normally crack along here, along the where the spokes are. So yeah, it's nice. I've always wanted a wood grain one, and I've got one now. So that's all good. So what I've just done in the last 5 minutes is I've ordered a Boss kit to suit that steering column, and I'll take welcome to the drag strip. So what I'll do is I'll take this original factory wheel off, obviously put my Boss kit on there, and my SAS wheel that I took out of the Chev will go into the Studebaker, and then I'll put that original wheel on eBay and see if I can get some dollars for it. So I've got a couple of little things going at the moment. Chevy's been driving absolutely fantastic lately. Haven't had any issues with it whatsoever, which is great. So here we go, the old saying, touch wood. Touch wood. She's been behaving herself, and yeah, I had the opportunity to go out today to a personal invite rod run. We've got another rod run on next week, which is the 20. I think it is the 20. I think it's the 26th of September. Held by the same club, but the club's president wanted to invite a couple of people to one of the venues where they normally hold the runs, just as a little bit of a personal get together. But I thought Mike was coming today, and I knew that I was going to the run next week, so I ditched it today. I did say I was going on the Facebook invite, but it didn't eventuate because I didn't hear back from Mike until about 1:30 or 2 o'clock this afternoon, even though I sent him a message early. So I'm going to have a go at making this template, and once I've got that cut out, I'll start the vid back up again. And yeah, not much really to show. All I'm going to do is cut the corners on this with a pair of tin snips, and that's basically it. Then I've just got to come up with a way to fasten it in. So cheers, guys. Okay, guys, not that there's much to show you, as I said there wouldn't be, but I've just taken the corners off that bit of mesh, made my template up, as you can see, worked out the curve, and I've just transcribed it onto there. So now I've got to find a way to fasten it in, and once I've worked that out, then I'll start dismantling the grill shroud, and we'll get this thing mounted and look grouse and look good. So awesome.